So while I was at the farm, I was doing a muscle communication session with Andrea, and a point I was testing this. I was just learning how to do this, so I was testing on a point of meeting new people. Was a question. We were finding a word through the dictionary through muscle communication to figure out what point I need to work with when I am meeting new people, because that's a point where I have apprehension, fear, and anxiety. So the point that tested out was the word bitter, which is interesting, and right away I could see that within my experience and how I've reacted to others when meeting them. And I started writing this point out, doing self-forgiveness on it, and realized the point that I'm holding on to is this, and I wrote out the definition, and the definition of bitterness, or bitter, is within like the emotional aspect of it. It's anger, hurt, or resentfulness because of one's bad experience or sense of unjust treatment. And this I related to my past, within specifically being teased when I was younger. I was humiliated pretty much in front of my classmates, and ever since that happened, it happened for a while, a few years, and ever since this happened, I've held on to this bitterness towards others, and anger and resentment for having to go through that experience of being, made fun of and humiliated in front of not only other people but my peers, like my age group, being vulnerable and having that point of weakness within me that others could use against me. So it was always like a point of competition and being upset and angry because I was called out and kind of publicly called out on a weakness, being labeled as this weakness. So whenever I met new people, for a long time I always was apprehensive, and I've been walking through this in the self-forgiveness. I would assess them within these pictures I had in my head of these two polarity points of, the person that would treat me well and not go into points of humiliation and cause me to feel vulnerable. I had that like picture in my head of like a kind person, not like outspoken, like gentle, and didn't speak a lot, was like kind of shy. And the person, like this kind of polarity opposite of someone who was outspoken and kind of boisterous and loud and talked a lot. So the point is I had these two polarity extremes that I had in my head that I was accessing every time I met a new person. and defining that moment within these past definitions I've been holding on to, and ideas of who is going to be mean to me, who is going to make fun of me, and who I could trust. So within the forgiveness, I've been forgiving these pictures that I'm holding on to, and forgiving myself for holding on to the past within these experiences I experienced of being humiliated in front of my classmates. Letting those go, letting the past go, because it's in the past. It doesn't define who I am here, and I'm only holding myself down pretty much based on defining myself by these past memories. So letting those go and allowing myself to come to each moment new and fresh and with no expectations, no ideas in my head, no fear of others, letting it go. I'll read the self-forgiveness, one of the self-corrective statements I made. So this is one point that came up. When and as this point of bitterness and jealousy and comparison to others come up in my world, especially when I meet new people, I stop and breathe and focus on my breathing, letting go of all points of mind, ideas, and judgments. Being here as I see and understand, I am one and equal as life to all, no matter what picture I hold on to in my head, what it looks like, my ideas of it in my head. Letting all pictures go of the past and being here, new, fresh, and enjoying myself as life, as all that is here, as life, as myself, as we express. So just letting the past go, letting my ideas and points of, fear and anger, resentment, jealousy that has conjured up through holding on to these past ideas, past memories, and stopping the bitterness of myself, because I'm only showing that I'm not accepting myself here. I'm holding on to mind and not being here as who I am as life. So just walking through one point that I've been looking at recently, bitterness, and stopping that within, stopping my past, letting it go. Thanks.